why are Manchester United fans so excited about going from being the richest club in the Premier League to the richest club in the Premier League? Like, what do you want to sign? You're signing players for Real Madrid, you're signing Varane, Casemiro, you're dropping 90 M on Sancho. So I don't understand. Do you think that when you get new owner, then you now get the one Mbappe?
Now,
or are you going to spend money that...
This is the thing, right?
Okay, you get a nicer stadium, fair.
Exactly.
That's okay, exactly a nicer stadium.
Exactly the point. Everybody understands that Manchester United have had, the funds to, buy players, But the issue has always been with other things in the club. Remember when Ronaldo came, the kinds of things he said about this,
No, I get that, but I feel like things like that, they're only spoken about when you're not winning. Like, things haven't been great. It's when you're not winning, they start looking at that. And I feel like the problem in Manchester United has always just been the management, because the Glazers, they won Premier Leagues under Sir Alex Ferguson, so they're not the worst owners in the world. And now look at this guy, Ten Hag, they've won a trophy, and they're looking good under the Glazers. If the Glazers stay for 2-3 years, I think Ten Hag can do enough with the squad that Manchester United will accomplish. So I feel like it's just been, yeah, they're not the greatest owners, but the fact of the matter, I would take the Glazers in a heartbeat, bro.
It was a big week in the UEFA Champions League and in the UEFA Europa League. Also in the UEFA Conference League, but that's just so that we don't overstretch. Well, we've decided to relegate any team playing in the Conference League to.
Yeah, you guys can get those highlights on Twitter.
But of course, in the UEFA Champions League, big results. It was exactly as I predicted in the Porto versus Inter game and the Man City versus Leipzig game. Remember, I said that the Porto versus Inter game, you can't really, separate both teams, and it was most likely to end up like the Tottenham versus Milan game, and that was exactly what happened. 0-0 in Portugal, and Porto got knocked out.
Yeah, Porto got knocked out. Hard to separate them, but if you had to pick a stronger side, you'd probably say Inter is still the stronger side. They have the better players. So I guess, fair result. Porto put up a good account for themselves.
And Man City almost demolished.
Yeah, that was a strange game. Haaland is a crazy guy, but I've never seen... The guy is just gifted. The ball just drops for him every single time. He scored a penalty.
He has that poacher's instinct.
There's poacher's instinct, but there's...
runner.
It's weird.
He can score with his head.
But that's not what happened today. Today, he scored a penalty.
Yeah, he scored a penalty.
And the penalty itself was, okay, it's a goal shot. If it goes in, it goes in. Then the other one that Ruben Dias had hit the post. Other post. Then the guy tried to volley it and just hit it out to Alashin. Knew nothing about it.
De Bruyne's
long range came off. He headed it inside. Then there was the one that another corner. A thing came off the post, landed for him right in front of the goal, smashed it in. I've never seen, and it, like, if you told me if you didn't want that match and someone told you had 5 touches, you could believe it. Like,
true.
The ball just kept entering the net, and yeah, it's a record. 5 goals in Champions League. No one has ever scored more than that.
No one has ever scored more than that, and we actually did call that result right. We said that the 1-1 in Germany was a one-off, and then Man City were going to come into this one at Etihad and just blow them away.
Yeah,
and that was exactly what
like you said, they won the Champions League, and Haaland even actually literally said it, that they brought me in to win the Champions League. Like, he's not beat around the bush. He said that they've won the league before they know how to win the league. That's not why they signed Erling Haaland.
Facts. And it looks like Manchester City, of course, Manchester City do go, marching on in the Champions League. Of course, having qualified for the quarterfinals. Another big team that we're looking out for and that we've been interested in over the course of the season, Napoli. They did the business against Frankfurt again. 3-0. Osimhen scored 2. He was on course to score a hat-trick. He got removed. I'm sure he was not happy about that. But during the game, he had, he sustained an injury. His left hand, I think his left wrist or something, got sprained, and so you'd say maybe Spalletti was trying to.
Yeah, I think if Napoli are going to try and go find the Champions League as well as the league, they need to manage the minutes of their key players. So when the game is done, Osimhen, you have to sit out like, yes, Spalletti wants you to achieve your own individual goals, but that's not what he's getting paid for. It is those matches. But yeah, on touch on that Osimhen header, it was extraordinary. He's one of the best in the air in world football. The power he gets on it, the way he finishes it, like, he had to get up really high, and he met the ball at a really high point, but still control it and send it across into the. It was a brilliant header.
I mean, it was giving shades of that Ronaldo.
The one when it was at
Juve header.
Yeah, lots of Ronaldo. You can think of the one against Manchester United, because look how high he got.
Yeah, that's very big. Osimhen, of course, one of the highest goal scorers in the Champions League this season as well. Haaland, it seems to be running away with.
Yeah,
having scored 5.
Yeah, he should be high up there now. And with the two current top goal scorers out of the tournament, in Salah and I think Mbappe, is a free run for him.
Yeah.
Like, 6 matches potentially to play.
And talking about Salah, crashed out of the tournament with Liverpool against Real Madrid. It was interesting to see because it looked like Liverpool, having collected their we beat Manchester United trophy, went back to being a mid-team, played poorly in the league against Bournemouth, and then went to Madrid and didn't seem like they didn't seem like.
Yeah, I think it's so it's the flip side of what's going on with City with having to motivate these players. Like, they've reached a point where with all they've accomplished in recent years and knowing that this season is pretty much over, the Real Madrid match had happened the way it happened, so they're going into this tie knowing you're not coming back in this tie. The league, like, these guys are, like, if you're struggling to motivate City to win the Premier League, imagine how it is to motivate these Liverpool players to make top 4 or to make Europa sport. So I think, along most of the team, I think they've checked out. And Van Dijk did say something that was quite telling, and we haven't heard some from Liverpool saying it's about how we need to recruit better players. And he said some players are leaving, but I think everybody knows what the case is now. We know where we need to improve. And I think that result might actually have been good because in this match, even though the scoreline wasn't as bad, our problems were more glaring. Like, Real Madrid ran around us in midfield. Like, they didn't want us to touch the ball, and we just couldn't get anywhere near the ball. The few times we got near the ball, it's because we fouled them. And when they wanted the ball back, they got it back when they wanted to. They didn't need to score that many goals, so they didn't. So, positive take from it. I would say focus on league, but I know mentally these players, they're short mentally. They don't care anymore. It's about next season.
And talking about Liverpool and the struggles that they're going through, the sheer number of games that they've had to play these same players. I'll take, for example, Trent Alexander-Arnold. You can count how many games he has missed for Liverpool over the past 4 years. You can count it on 2 hands.
Salah has missed 2 matches due to injury since he got to Liverpool, and one of them was concussion protocol.
So these are the things, right?
Consider that this is Van Dijk after an ACL injury. So he played more games. So he had an ACL injury, came back and then played more games than anybody in Europe last year, including the World Cup, Champions League. No footballer played more matches than Van Dijk. So you expect there to be a little drop off, but they're still positive. Alisson looks brilliant. Konate looks brilliant. Robertson still looks good. So there are definitely still pieces in Liverpool that you'd want to keep if they can just focus the rebuild in the middle like they need to.
Exactly.
I think still have a team there.
Exactly. Strongly believe the middle of the park is somewhere that Liverpool need to work on. Attack doesn't seem to have that much. I mean, the players that
we have
there,
so many attackers. Luis Diaz hasn't come back.
Exactly.
It's a great attack. We're sport for choice in attack.
And in defense too, there's
right.
pretty good cover, but maybe get a
I think you need another
maybe
centre
get
back.
a competition for Trent at right back.
We do have one, but he just go, and that's another thing with Liverpool that I keep mentioning. This is not a Liverpool show, but the injuries are crazy. Like, we get more injured players than everybody in league every season. And now this new kid, Bachetti, who's been shining like something, he's injured for the rest of the season now too. Then the Trent backup is injured too. So yeah, there are lots of players that will believe in the club. Maybe we can delve into that later. But like, about 7 players players running out of contracts and players who just need to be moved on. I think you have a new look Liverpool next season.
Yeah, definitely. That would be good for Liverpool fans. But of course, Liverpool this season, one of the mid-table teams, it looks like their hunt for top 4 has been short as well. But
we'll see how it goes. There's 13 games to play.
Yeah. There's still time. There's actually still time.
And 3 points in between. But I just don't know if they have the fight for it. But a good team. The gap is not a crazy gap.
Okay, and just quickly wrap things up. Like you said, it's not a Liverpool show, but something interesting, and this is something that came in the middle of the show, right? The producer wants to know if Mane's absence can be credited for, if not all, but majority of the problems that Liverpool are experiencing at the moment. Besides injuries.
No. That's the answer now. That's the answer now. You can run the tape. We've had these conversations before.
Right. But of course, like you said, and like I said as well, it is not a Liverpool show. Let's move on to the UEFA Europa League, where big things happened. We know the teams that are going into...
big teams happen to small clubs. So carry on though.
It was not too many surprising results, except one, right? Sevilla qualified, Feyenoord qualified, Juve qualified, Manchester United qualified, and I want to give special props to Erik ten Hag with his competition management, right? In all the competitions that we're playing this season, we have been competitive on all fronts. Manchester United have been competitive on all fronts. In the Europa League now, they had beaten Real Betis at, at Old Trafford, 4-1, literally just, blown them away. And then you've gone to, to their stadium. Their stadium is also one of those very, very daunting stadiums that when you go as an away team, you'll be scared, right? And Manchester United were able to, keep everything under wraps, not allow it slip away from their hands, and then ended up winning the game comfortably. I think that was very, very big. That was very, very big. Very, very big props for Erik ten Hag. You should actually take him seriously. Still in the FA Cup, he's playing on Sunday. He's still in the race for for top 4 in the Premier League, and this is all just 7 or 8 months into his reign at the club.
That's
That's
doing okay. He's doing okay. We'll leave it at that.
He's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing as expected. He's doing better than Manchester United have done in the last few years. But this is a very good Manchester United squad when you look at it on paper. Yeah, he's done a lot to get them back on track mentally. But they should be achieving things like they World Cup winners, Champions League winners all around that squad. So yeah, props to him for that. We'll see how it goes when. Like, he has to compete for the big things next season. Like, we need to see him at the forefront of the league. Like, he's going to qualify for the Champions League. We need to see him progress in the Champions League. So, yeah, he's passed his first test, and, yeah, good job to him. His Manchester United are potentially back. This is the best they've been in a while.
Yeah, and still on Manchester United, we understand that there is concrete information about, the change of ownership. Just yesterday, the Qatari, group came to Old Trafford. They had a meeting, with the Glazers and with the higher ups at Manchester United.
I don't understand that thing. Like, why are Manchester United fans so excited about going from being the richest club in the Premier League to the richest club in the Premier League? Like, what do you want to sign? You're signing players for Real Madrid. You're signing Varane, Casemiro. You're dropping 90 M on Sancho. So I don't understand. Do you think that when you get new owner, then you now get the one Mbappe?
Now,
or are you going to spend money that...
This is the thing, right?
You get a nicer stadium first.
Exactly.
That's okay.
Exactly
nicer
the point.
stadium.
Exactly the point. Everybody understands that Manchester United have had, the funds to, buy players, But the issue has always been with other things in the club. Remember when Ronaldo came, the kinds of things he said about this,
No, I get that, but I feel like things like that, they're only spoken about when you're not winning. Like, things haven't been great. It's when you're not winning, they start looking at that. And I feel like the problem in Manchester United has always just been the management. Because the Glazers, they won Premier Leagues under Sir Alex Ferguson. So they're not the worst owners in the world. And now look at this guy, Ten Hag, they've won a trophy. And they're looking good under the Glazers. If the Glazers stay for 2-3 years, I think Ten Hag can do enough with the squad that Manchester United will accomplish. So I feel like it's just been, they're not the greatest owners. But the fact of the matter, I'll take the Glazers in a heartbeat, bro. Look at the bag they spend every summer. You think I care about what? You think I care about what Anfield looks like? I don't even go to Anfield. What's my business what Anfield looks like?
Manchester United fans are disgruntled with the Glazers.
And I think they're disgruntled because they are not winning. If you were winning, they won't care. Like, the Glazers were there when Sir Alex was there. You guys weren't telling me about the Glazers now. It's only when you're not winning. Okay, we're the Glazers now. When we're winning, Glazers.
There were always complaints about the Glazers from time.
Only downtimes.
Manchester United fans have always been disgruntled, by the Glazers. Remember,
they're spoiled. You guys used to having ban. You're spoiled.
The yellow and green, those yellow and green banners.
It only happens.
Always been there.
No, it's always there. But that's when Chelsea came up a little bit now. Mourinho is doing stuff like yellow and green. Manchester United are back. Now we're ready again. Just using the Glazers as your opening voice. You guys are spoiled.
But to be very frank and candid, and this is not me taking any sides, but there is that conversation about how Manchester United fans are excited by Qatari owners or Saudi owners when there is that conversation about sports washing and what they're doing.
This conversation is very
What
layered.
are your morals? What are your ethics really? If if you're clamoring for these owners, you were against them when they signed Manchester City. You were against them when they were spending all that money for Manchester City.
And that's the thing, in a situation like Manchester United where you are already like the richest club in the world, then why go down that route? Like, why involve sports?
Manchester United are not the richest club in the world.
Okay,
at the moment. They've been knocked off their
you've knocked off your pledge, but you're one of the richest clubs in the world. Your transfer budget is bigger than anybody else's most of the time. So I don't understand why you have all that. Why you go down that sports washing lane and want to kind of brand yourself, involve yourself with that when you already have money. If you're broke, I understand it. So we just need bad to compete. But I think you guys can compete with your ownership if you have a good management, and you've just flopped in the management front. Like, you fired the wrong manager up until now.
Who would you credit for management? And I promise you, the issue with Manchester United's management has not just been the coach or the manager. It has been the front office. The entire front
I get that,
office
but I feel
under
like
the Glazers
the people
has been geared towards the wrong thing.
I feel like yes, it has been, but I feel so. Yeah, that's where you can question the Glazers for the hiring of the manager, but they don't exactly hire the manager, the director of football. So yeah, you can question them for those decisions. But I feel like at that level, they're doing what they need to do. They're dropping the bar. They're the owners, like the American owners. Why are you expecting them to be
taking out money and plunging the club deep?
That's why is that your problem? As the an accountant,
You're
like
worried. No,
it's
as a
only
fan,
and my
you're
point
worried
is,
about that.
you guys are only worried now because you are not on top. If you were winning, what's your own with the debt? As in, when the football fans become accountants, like let's not be fake deep.
Anyways, I disagree with that.
And I think you can win with Ten Hag and the Glazers.
I disagree with that because as a Manchester United fan, we have had these complaints. We've been clamoring for a change of ownership for the longest. And it just started to gain more traction when everything seemed to be, falling apart after Sir Alex Ferguson's reign. But of course, Manchester United did, are on a good run in the Europa League, on a good run in the Premier League, in the FA Cup as well, and the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, which they already won. But of course, we'll see how it pans out for them. The draws are going to happen today for both the UEFA Champions League and the Europa League, I think. I think Europa League is tomorrow. But that will be happening, and it will be nice to see who Manchester United face in the next round. There's Sevilla, there's Feyenoord, there's Juve, there's Sporting, there's Leverkusen, there's Roma, and there's Union Saint-Gilloise. The biggest upset of this round, of both UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League fixtures, was Sporting defeating Arsenal.
This is really an upset because
this is what I'll say. In the first leg, I think Arsenal were very fortunate to go away with a draw in that game. Over the two legs, Sporting came to party.
That Xhaka goal was very fortunate.
He was very fortunate. From Saka's foul to Xhaka's deflected goal. I believe Arsenal are very fortunate coming into this tie. And I believe Arteta sort of let this tie go with a little bit of naivety and a little bit of poor competition management, which I credited Ten Hag for. He rested Saka. He rested Odegaard. He didn't start Partey. So these kinds of things definitely, maybe he expected that the 12th man, being at the Emirates will come to play, come to their favor, but Sporting had other ideas.
I hate that you made this conversation serious so quickly. I wanted to laugh at them for a little longer. I actually realized that Tottenham have won more European trophies than Arsenal. That's crazy. And Arsenal, as in they have no European pedigree, and them getting knocked out of a European competition, that's surprising. Like, this is what Arsenal do. Arteta is Pep's son, so he doesn't know champs. So yeah, Arsenal, that's over for them with that. They're not going to be winning any double. And I guess now that all their eggs are literally in one basket. If they don't win the Premier League or bust now for Arsenal, which I think is very interesting, and we'll see how that affects their cycle moving forward. But the match itself, yeah, like you said, Sporting, over the two legs, Sporting definitely do, like, they can say, yeah, they deserve to go through, and they came to the Emirates, and you'd have expected Arsenal, yeah, Emirates fans, crowd against them, so and so, they should get the result.
But they had good spells. Sporting had good spells.
Sporting had very good spells, but Sporting just looked like the better side. And that's the thing with European football, like, you don't know what you're going to get, because even though you're playing a team that's mid-table in Portugal, like, you don't understand what's going on in that league. The brand of football in that league might just... So yeah, Sporting came out and put up a good account for themselves, and that goal was the goal of the season.
The goal was arguably... that's the goal of the round, and it's probably going to be the goal of...
because you see long-range strikes, but the keeper wasn't that far off his line. And it's not like this one looped and then dropped in it. Like, it kind of entered like the top corner kind of.
And
like,
this guy was... he just passed the center circle.
And he evaded some sort of pressure. It's not like he got the ball and he was looking for a pass for time and he just blinked it. Like, he had to shoot.
And that would bring me to the goal that a Sporting player, I don't remember his name right now, a Sporting player scored just this weekend. The guy actually did a Rabona in the box and he scored. It was crazy.
The goal of the month is going to be breezy for Sporting.
Crazy. So yeah, that's very, very good for Sporting. Big upset for Arsenal. Arsenal are out of the Europa League, and you said, crazy. All their eggs
I think we need something to laugh at. As in, it's been too good for Arsenal recently. Like, right? we have to hold on to this, because this might be the last time this season we get to laugh at Arsenal.
Jerry's trying to hurry us up, but the bad news does not stop there for Arsenal. In that game, they had to make two substitutions, right, due to injuries. So we had two starting players that that are solid in their backline. Tomiyasu and Saliba both left the pitch injured. And that's big for us.
Yeah, that's a big drop-off potentially with those two injuries. And even more bad news for Arsenal is Patrick Vieira had just been sacked by Crystal Palace. Why does that matter? Because Crystal
Because
Palace
the
next
Crystal
game
Palace next.
in the league is against Arsenal. And if you remember, last time we spoke
my
about the
God.
new manager bounce, it was Arsenal were the victims of it.
Right.
So I don't know. Let's see.
Of course,
Sunday,
of course. On Sunday, we'll see how that pans out.
we'll
And
be there no matter what.
man, Arsenal, it's not looking.
Yeah, see, it's another little test in the season. Let's see if they answer it again.
Definitely. But still on football and in the FA Cup, tomorrow, Manchester City will take on Burnley. This is interesting because Vincent Kompany is the manager of Burnley. Burnley have been doing excellently, in the championship.
Where's the game?
It's in Etihad.
Damn, it's in Etihad. If it wasn't, I would have given Burnley a chance here. 'Cause I feel with Vincent Kompany's philosophies as a manager, if your players are competent enough, you can get at Manchester City. So he's a very forward-thinking manager. He wants to score goals, and City are vulnerable at the back, where the other teams are always going to be vulnerable at the back. So if they can stay solid for long enough, I think Burnley do have a chance, and they have a very exciting squad at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Depending on how seriously Pep takes it, but I think keep an eye on
I
it.
mean, he'll probably take it seriously. These are those kinds of games for Pep Guardiola. I mean, he's seen one of his proteges, and he wants to.
I mean, he'll take it. Will he take it as seriously as you like? I won't be surprised if Kevin De Bruyne doesn't play. Like, I get it, the business end of the season, he gets injured sometimes. Like, maybe he'll rest a Haaland. Maybe this is an opportunity for Julian Alvarez because it's Champions League, Premier League, or FA Cup. There's no Carabao Cup to give anyone random minutes again.
I definitely see what you're saying. The other big fixture in the FA Cup this weekend, Manchester United versus Fulham on a Sunday. That will happen at Old Trafford. What do you think?
United, Fulham. Yeah, you'd have to go with United for that game at Old Trafford. Fulham are playing good football. Paulina is really good. Is Mitrovic fit?
Mitrovic is fit.
So yeah, it could get interesting. But yeah, I'll go United.
Okay. And just quickly wrap things up. Of course, the news that Patrick Vieira was sacked just dropped right before we came on here, and very, very massive news for Crystal Palace. I believe Vieira was one of the better managers in the Premier League, but things are not looking rosy for them. They are currently 12th, but they are right there in the relegation battle. They have a couple games ahead of the people. They have a couple games. They played a couple games more than the people.
So there are a few teams behind them that if they win, leapfrog them, and that's quite bad considering they were a really good side last season. And but yeah, they haven't won a game this year.
They've had a very
They've scored like 5 goals this year as well. It's just not going great for them.
They've had a very, very bad run this year.
And
in their last three games, they have not had one shot. They didn't have a single shot on target in their last 3 games, entire games.
Yeah, and I love Vieira, but going down, being relegated is not a joke. What it does financially, what it does to your squad, coming back is one of the hardest things to do. And like you said, the new manager bounce, that's enough because in these situations, win 3 games on the trot and that can save you.
That can save you, yeah, definitely. And that's something that we're looking out for. We're looking out for how things will pan out at Crystal Palace, and I do wish Patrick Vieira, the best of luck. I believe he's a manager that can get another big role in the Premier League if an opportunity comes knocking. And to quickly wrap things up, the MMA mixed martial arts UFC championship fight between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman happens tomorrow. That's the 3rd fight between the 3 of them. Kamaru Usman won the first one, Leon Edwards won the second one, and it was in the second one that he collected Kamaru Usman's belts. What's your prediction? This is happening in the UK, so that's like home advantage for Leon Edwards.
No bad vibes, I'm going with Usman.
Right.
Yeah, manifesting Usman.
Right. Me too. I'm in that boat. I'm in that boat with you. Kamaru Usman, I do wish him the best of luck. Like I said, his preparation for this fight has been top notch. I've seen how much focus he's put into the fight. If you're a betting man, it's not very easy to call. If we're being honest, it's not very easy to call. Leon Edwards seems to have an answer.
I mean, we know that he's defeated him once already. It's split.
Even though Kamaru Usman did. He had the upper hand in that game until the knockout, but in that fight rather until the knockout. But Leon Edwards seems to have his password. Of course, there's the Saudi Arabian GP. We're looking out for that one as well this weekend. Will Ferrari's woes continue? We're hearing news that there's trouble in the McLaren camp. Things are a little bit unsettled. Mercedes are not, they're not coming to the party, as everybody hoped. They're still having troubles with their cars. But Max Verstappen and Red Bull just seem to be firing on all cylinders. And Aston Martin they are fast as hell. So yeah, that's a very, very big weekend to look out for. Saudi Arabian GP happening this weekend. And in the NBA, we already know 2 teams that have qualified for the playoffs. Milwaukee Bucks in the Western Conference and the Nuggets? Yeah, the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference. And yeah,
The NBA is looking interesting. I think the Lakers are looking really interesting. They've traded really well, and I think that's a team people should keep an eye on. Anthony Davis is playing again, and he's putting up very big numbers. And playoff LeBron, he showed his age a little bit this season, getting injured, but at the business end of the season, I mean, I'm not saying they're favorites, but I think they weren't being taken as seriously before, but now you're gonna have to look at them again.
Yeah. They're currently in the places for the playing tournament. We're not done yet, but they might still make it into the playoffs. It's still a bit tight.
And they make it as long as they make. You don't want to see LeBron James in a playoff game, like you just don't. Even if you said it, if he's 5th seed, 6th seed, 7th seed, if he comes into your building, it's a problem.
Right. And that's an episode. We'll catch you guys in the next one. But of course, before we leave, we like to leave you guys with goodies. Predict correctly the scores for the City versus Burnley game tomorrow before the match starts. The exact correct score, and you stand a chance to win airtime courtesy of our man Jerry. And of course, if you're able to predict the Manchester United versus Fulham game on Sunday correctly before the match starts, you as well stand a chance to win, airtime. Okay, that's an episode. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Safe.